So every witch needs a broom. And in Hexerei, there are 3 different brooms that we can currently make. These are going to be the mahogany, willow, and witch hazel brooms. So first up, where do we find the trees to actually get these brooms? So witch hazel can be found in birch forests. You will find the willows in swamps, and you will find mahogany in jungles. So how do we actually make the brooms? So pretty simply, it's going to be in an item cauldron, in a mixing cauldron, with obviously the logs you're using, netherite, etc. A mandrake root for the mahogany one, and bottle of blood. Bottle of blood is if you've got the blood sigil in your mixing cauldron up here, and you stand in it and jump up and down in the cauldron, you could just bottle out the blood for that. And then, as you can see there, we do need mandrake, which you can find in swamp biomes as well. They basically work like berry bushes, as you can see here. You can sometimes get the flower and also the root when harvesting. The willow broom is a lot easier to make, a lot cheaper, doesn't need netherite. Willow logs, blocks of gold, bottle of blood, etc., a mandrake root, and witch hazel just needs a diamond and some bottles of blood. So what is the difference between the 3 brooms? So the first one is the willow broom. It is slower, which I do say in the guide is nice for server exploration and nice for precise building. Though being slower, you may have already figured out it's easier for the early game. Mahogany is faster than willow, which is great. And it is also fire and lava resistant, but not while it's an entity. In other words, if you drop it, it will be fire resistant. However, if it's an entity, so when it's like actually in the world like this, it isn't. There is a way to upgrade it so it can fly through lava and underwater, which I'll be explaining shortly when we look at upgrading our brooms. And then lastly, we have the witch hazel broom, which gives a balance of speed and control, slightly faster than willow, but not as fast as mahogany. If you want to see how fast they are, this is the mahogany one. There we go. You can see how fast it is. Willow is then, let's go down. So we've got witch hazel, fairly slow, I guess. I mean, and they're not crazy fast. And then willow is the slowest, which goes like this. Honestly, you could only really tell the difference a little bit. So once you've made your brooms, like I've just shown you, how do you use them? Well, you can simply right-click them into the world, and then right-click to get on them. Spacebar makes you go up, forward, left and right, etc. Control makes you go down, and shift, you will get off them. I would shift all the way to the ground if I were you. Oh my goodness. Because when you get off, you can kind of just walk off. You'll notice if you get off up here, it can kind of be a bit annoying to get off, as you can see. So then we actually have lots of broom upgrades. So when you have it out like this, shift to crouch and then right click on your broom, which will bring up this interface here. There's a setting option, float mode on or off, where it just sits on the ground or not, and obviously floating. And then we have miscellaneous, satchels, and brushes. So when you're actually using your broom, it will actually use the brush, meaning these brushes have durability. Once the brush gets to 0 durability, the broom will fly to the, it'll plummet to the ground, and, game over, I guess, if you're flying too high. So you will need to replenish the brushes, so do take a few with you if you're on a long journey. All brushes can be enchanted with mending and unbreaking, however, very interesting to know. To craft it, you're going to need a drying rack and the items shown below. So I'm going to take you through the different brushes we have. There is first the wet broom brush. To make a broom brush, you must first craft a wet one within a cauldron. And then you just put it on a drying rack. So this is how you make the wet one in the mixing cauldron. We've then got an enhanced broom brush, which is a longer lasting, enhanced by herbs in its crafting. And that's actually twice as much durability. And basically, you just need to use belladonna, mandrake, and mugwort, and yellow dock flowers, which are some of the flowers and roots that you will get in this mod. I will show you how to get these in a second. And then we have the moon dust brush, which makes it faster, especially during a full moon. It's otherwise the same as the enhanced broom brush. Moon dust is actually made in an item So I keep calling it an item cauldron. A mixing cauldron must be done in the full moon, and you just put some of this in here. How do you know when it's a full moon? I did show this in my ultimate guide. If you're watching the ultimate guide, then soz, but you need to make a crystal ball, and then it will just tell you what moon phase it's in, or if it's obviously daytime. Regarding the plants you need for the enhanced one, there's mandrake, belladonna, mugwort, and yellow dock. If you ever forget where to get them, the yellow dock bush is found in a swamp biome. Mugwort is in a swamp. Are they all swamps? Belladonna is in a swamp, and what are they called? Mandrake, I think, are swamps, yes. And again, if you ever do need to find a swamp biome, don't forget you can use the dowsing rod? Yes, the dowsing rod, which you just right-click and it will give you a jungle, shift right-click, and it will then tell you where a swamp is. So that's how you get your herbs, and then obviously just right-click them onto a drying rack to dry out the herbs, and including the brooms when you're drying your brooms. There is also the broom thruster brush. However, this one appears to have no recipe, so at the time of filming, I do believe that this one is not actually in the game properly. The mod developer did put in the guidebook that there are a few things that they want to add to the mod which aren't in there yet, specifically around the herbs and things like this. So if there is anything in this mod, as you're watching this tutorial and you're going, you haven't discussed that, it's probably because it's not in here. Just comment down below if it is now in the pack, and I'd be happy to do an updated tutorial for it. So we've got our enhanced broom brush. I'm going to shift right click and I'm just going to replace it in the brush icon here. And you can see it does actually update the aesthetic a bit as well. In the miscellaneous thing, we have a few options. You can get some gold rings, which are made just in the mixer. Gold rings, and you can see it adds these lovely rings to the tip of your broom. And there's also a few cool ones in here that do a few other things. There is the broom chain here. So this one is really cool. The broom chain. And what we can then do is go into a crafting table. And let's say I want... Maybe you're going to be really witchy and put a cauldron on. So you put the broom chain in the crafting table like this, and it'll attach the cauldron. And then what you could do is go into here, put it on. It's almost like a little key charm. See, isn't that cool? It's like a key ring when it comes back up of a cauldron on there. That's a really cool one. We also have a few really useful ones. The broom netherite tip, which is really useful as it can fly through lava and fire without getting damaged. We've also got the waterproof tip, allowing you to ride underwater as well on your broom. And those are all going to be the tips for your broom. And then in the middle, we have the satchel slot. So we have a small 9 inventory slot, a medium 18, and large satchel of 27. And it adds this massive inventory for your broom, meaning that you've got some storage on the go. We also have the ender satchel, which will actually extend the inventory to your ender inventory. And then also the replacer. It replaces broken broom brushes with the top leftmost brush in the broom's inventory, which is really, really nice as well, making life just a hell of a lot easier, but it's not as big as the large satchel. So, you know, depends how much you need, really, on your satchels you're using. But there we go. That is how you use and modify your brooms in Hexerei. I hope that tutorial was useful for you. Again, do click the link in the description if you'd like your own server for 10% off at Gportal. I really do mean it. They are the absolute best when it comes to servers. I'm actually quite blown away by how good their servers are. And you can also join my Patreon in the description to, one, support the channel, and secondly, to join the Patreon server, which I now stream on, where you can ask me any questions and request mods, etc. You can also comment down below for any mods that you would like. I do check all the comments on this channel, and I'd love to hear which mods you want to see covered next. I do have some shelves here, tech mods, magic mods, utility, and standalone mods here as well. Utility and standalone mods means it's not in a playlist, it's just a video on its own for the whole mod, for example. But please do subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and again, let me know your comments down below.